It is July, it is a new month, which means it is time to head back again to the Nintendo Switch eShop and find you 10 hidden gems, or in some cases, not so hidden gems, but just great games for you to check out on the Nintendo Switch. What's going on, everybody? I'm Jay, welcome to Square Pegs. It is a little bit echoey in here. You are officially in the brand new game room. We'll do a quick turnaround here in a minute, but not a full tour yet. That's happening in a couple weeks. We're gonna kick things off with a release from Nintendo themselves, a game that is really interesting, has a little bit of controversy, but I'm telling you what, I've been playing it and I think it is a lot of fun.
As someone who is a big fan of the NES remix games on both the 3DS and the Wii U, the Nintendo World Championship NES Edition was something that was right up my alley, and I am having a lot of fun with it. It's not the same game by any stretch of the imagination, but it does kind of borrow heavily from that release to make something compelling and enjoyable. Now, there is a physical and a digital release, and I do have the physical, but the digital release has just as much going for it as the physical does, minus all the tchotchkes and, like, feely bits that everyone seems to love, myself included. You get to play from 13 different games. There's a bunch of different scenarios that you have to run through. There are online and single-player and multiplayer components that you're able to play, and you're competing against the best in the world to see who has the best time overall for each different challenge. It's a lot of fun. There's a ton of unlockables, a ton of things to discover, and a ton of things to find. One of the coolest things is that you're able to select your favorite game from the NES library or the Famicom library, and like, everything is in there. I even checked. Monster in My Pocket was available. Like, licensed games are available in there. I was kind of blown away by that. It's a very fun game, and it's got some really interesting gameplay options going for it. I don't know if it's going to hold my attention forever, but for right now, I'm really enjoying the Nintendo World Championship NES Edition. And it's only $30, which makes it a nice budget release for folks that gives you a lot of different gameplay options and is really fun. As much as I like a good shmup, bullet hells are usually something that I am a hard sell on, just because I don't really like being reminded how terrible I am at a video game franchise or a style of video game, and bullet hells usually just remind me almost immediately that I am inferior at games like this. And truth be told, RPM, Road Punk Mayhem, this game here, was kind of like that at first too. Like, the first time I played it, I think I died in the first 20 seconds, and I was like, well, that's not gonna fly. But I kept getting back into it. I kept trying it out a little bit more and giving myself more time to get used to the gameplay. And first off, East Asia Soft absolutely crushed it with this one, and thanks to them for the review code, because it's just a magnificent game with a perfect sense of style, just an amazing look, fantastic gameplay options that just kind of switch things up just a little bit by putting a teleportation ring around your vehicle, and when you use it, it kind of resets, so it gets smaller, but it eventually goes bigger. You're able to pick up fuel tanks to actually keep your car moving. It's very Mad Max, but like punk rock Mad Max. It's just a cool game. It's just a cool-ass game, and it's got Tate mode as well, so if you play it handheld, that's going to look great as well, going north to south for you. $5.59 right now through August 7th of 2024, but after that it goes back to its $6.99 price tag. Don't pass this one up. So what happens when you take Stranger Things and pair it up with sort of gameplay elements from Super Mario RPG? You get the game Echo Generation Midnight Edition here. Now, let's talk first off about how gorgeous this game is. This is like The Tourist, but to the nth degree, because these models and these voxels that make these characters up are just stunning. This is set in the 1990s. It's a turn-based video game, so if you aren't into turn-based combat in RPGs, you probably want to pass this one over, but for me, this is something really cool. There's a ton of different characters to find. The music in the game is great. There's a fantastic sense of humor. You get to fight raccoons, and the raccoons are not friendly. They are out to beat you up and just make your life misery. It's just a wonderful game. There's so many different things to find. There's so many different quests to go on and mysteries to solve. It's like I said, it's a little bit Stranger Things crossed with Super Mario RPG, but not like to a spooky, creepy level like Stranger Things can be. Think of like the sense of humor that Stranger Things has, but this is where we're at here. Absolutely beautiful game, absolutely wonderful title, and something that I am really intrigued to find out more about, because this is apparently the second game in their Voxel series trilogy, and I need to look into it. $24.99. It's a great RPG. It's a great kind of throwback to the 90s and the things that we were into in the 90s. So definitely worth checking out if you have any affinity for that decade or you just like kind of quirky RPGs. As a longtime fan of the Blaster Master franchise, I have adored the Blaster Master Zero series, and I think the Nintendo Switch is the perfect location to play these fantastic games. First off, they're not terribly expensive. There are physical options for these, as a heads up, but digitally these are like $15 a piece, I think, something around there. And like, well, I mean, I know Blaster Master Zero is $14.99. Spoilers for the end of this talk, but I think the other ones are around the same price. But the clever thing about Blaster Master Zero series is that every game seems to just advance just a little bit to change the gameplay just a smidge to make things a little bit more compelling and a little bit different than anything you've played before in the Blaster Master series. And this game is just magnificent. It's got a fantastic look with a wonderful soundtrack and a hell of a challenge that does not let up. This game is just there. It's out to take your lunch money. And it's really cool and really gratifying as someone who's been playing Blaster Master since the NES days to see the evolution of the series and to now come to the conclusion of Jason's story here in Blaster Master Zero 3. As I may have alluded to, you may have heard, this is a $14.99 game, and there are physical releases, like I said, but it is a wonderful title, and if you have not played Blaster Master Zeroes 1, 2, and 3, you should look into it because they're magnificent games. One of my favorite developers is Clay Entertainment, and they've done things that I love, like Don't Starve. They did Mark of the Ninja, which I absolutely love, in a game I've talked about on this channel and on this series of videos in the past. And today we're talking about their roguelike deck building game, Griftlands. And the thing that I am just enamored with this game is that it does something like all of their games do by taking a core gameplay element and making it so truly unique and very much its own thing that I can't help but love it. First off, the art style in the game is stunning. It is signature Clay. It is a brilliant design. And the gameplay, like I said, it's a deck builder, but it's not like a traditional deck builder where you are kind of just going through like Slay the Spire, which is a brilliant title, but everyone kind of, apes off of that now. This does its own thing by making your deck work towards conversations as well as combat. There's definitely something there as well, but the conversations that happen and your ability to use the cards that you have to kind of influence conversation and influence how things are going to happen is just amazing. Decisions matter in the game. You are going to be able to choose whether characters live or die. That will come back to haunt you or help you later down the road. There's different characters you can play as. You can build a team or go solo. It's a brilliant title. It's $19.99, and I know that deck builders can be a hard sell to people, but for me, this is so very much up my alley. It's a roguelike and a deck builder, two things that I absolutely love. There's a demo, so if this sounds like something you might be interested in, don't just take my word for it. Download the demo and give it a shot. I have not featured a good old-fashioned beat-em-up on this channel in, God, I want to say months as far as an eShop game goes, and I have had my eye on the Ninja Savior's Return of the Warriors now for like 5 years, waiting for it to go on sale at a point where I was able to actually pull the trigger on it and pick it up. And I did so last month, and I'm so happy I did, because this game is a masterpiece. It is classic beat-em-up action. It doesn't do anything terribly complex. It is side-scrolling left to right. You choose your character, you beat the crap out of the bad guys, you jump and you have a special. It just works. It is such a fun game, and for something that is a clear throwback, it just plays great. Like, I think so many times nowadays when we have something that is kind of a reflection upon older gaming times, like this one being a 1990s style arcade game, too many times there's an attempt to modernize it too far, and that doesn't happen here. Taito just crushes it. It's so much fun. Ninja Savior's Return of the Warriors is a $19.99 game, and if you dig beat-em-ups and you're like thirsty for 1990s arcade action, check this one out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Mission start. When I saw Metal Slug Attack Reloaded featured on the Nintendo Direct back in June, I immediately rushed over and picked it up because for one, it's not expensive. For 2, it's Metal Slug, and I have had a thing for tower defense games lately. Been playing a lot of them on my phone, and I figured, hey, what the hell? Let's give one on the Switch a go and see how it is. And it's, first off, signature SNK design. Like, all the Metal Slug sprites are available, so it looks incredible. The gameplay is very difficult, so it's, again, signature Metal Slug experience here. There's something like over 300 characters in the game that you're able to pick up and use in the game and buy to actually feature as your troops. The controls are super simple. It's not hard to figure out. Takes a couple of rounds to get used to what you need to do, but once you figure it out, it's amazing. Absolutely love this game. It's just something that takes what makes Metal Slug great and sticks it into a different genre, and it just works. It just works. Really looking forward to when Metal Slug Tactics comes out as well, but for $10, $9.99, Metal Slug Attack Reloaded shouldn't be overlooked. Oh man, Draws is such a really, really clever and interesting design. So, if you remember in Luigi's Mansion 3, where you were able to swap to Guigi and you kind of got to control that slimy plumber, this is a little bit inspired by that. And they don't say as much, and it's not implied that way, but to me it feels very much like those Guigi levels from that game that is just really fascinating. So you play as both Draws and the Captain, and the Captain has a bit of a hard time. He gets his arm chopped off, he's nearly dead, and Draws needs a shell. She's basically kind of like a hermit crab, and she uses the Captain as her shell to be able to move around. Now, the neat thing about the game is you're able to hop out of the shell and move around just as Draws to go through like pipes and warp around essentially, and it's just a really clever game. I'm really enjoying it, and I think it's a very interesting design. It's got 40 different kind of like diorama style levels, so think of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker just like exploded to the nth degree, because the levels are absolutely massive. There's tons of things to discover. There's lots of really good platforming elements as well. It's not just moving around and stuff like that. You actually have to jump and move your characters around, and it's got a really, really good sense of humor. This is normally $24.99, but right now through August 2nd here in the States, it's on sale for $10, and I can't suggest this one enough. Fantastic title. Alright, probably the least hidden, well, maybe not the least hidden, I think probably the Nintendo World Champion is the least hidden one, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate, when I saw it advertised last month, I was like, what is this? What is going on here? Is this a Ninja Turtles roguelike? Where the hell did this come from? And I was just blown away by the concept of being able to get a game like this that is just it's made for me. Like, I have been a Ninja Turtles fan since 1987, before the animated series. Like, the original comics from Eastman and Laird were the ones that I read that got me hooked on the characters, and I have been a fan since then. And I love roguelikes, and Hades was like my favorite game of 2021. I am blown away by the fact that I get a Ninja Turtles roguelike. Nintendo Life called it Hades in a Half Shell, and that is so perfect because that is exactly what you get here. You get to play as the 4 different turtles. It's just amazing. There's single player, there's multiplayer. Each turtle has different abilities. The levels are fantastic and massive. The boss fights are wonderful. The voice acting is great. There's nothing in this game that misses. There's nothing in this game that misses. I am absolutely blown away by the fact that I might have a Ninja Turtles game as my game of the year 2 years in a row. This is that good. It's $29.99, and like I said, when Hades dropped and I paid the price that that one had for full price, this one is worth every single penny.
All right, there you have it, my friends. 10 games on the Nintendo Switch that I think you should be checking out this month for July. Not all these are brand new releases, but a lot of them are, and I want to thank all the publishers that provided review codes for doing so. It does help the channel out quite a bit, and it's always nice to feature brand new independent games. Let me know in the comments down below what game looks the most interesting to you. Gotta be honest with you, the Ninja Turtles game is hard to beat. It is basically Hades with the Ninja Turtles, and I'm really enjoying the Nintendo World Championship NES Edition. But let me know in the comments down below which one looks best to you. Till next time, folks, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Remember, play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.